Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell, lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and I am at home in Washington State, and Lee Cockerell is in Orlando, and we are on this call together. I say that because we've had some people reach out and say, "Hey, everything all right? You guys have been doing old stuff. Everything good?" Yeah, everything is good. We just were having a little fun with some older content, some episodes I discovered we never published and whatnot. But Lee, everything's good, right?
All good by me. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, everything's good. I am glad to be back here with Lee, and we've got a listener question. Before we get into that, I will mention our friends at Magical Vacation Planner. I saw they were just Disney has a new cruise ship. Magical Vacation Planner had a lot of their people on the first voyage of that ship. And that is one thing I have not done yet, Lee, is a Disney cruise. So I'm going to have to talk to Magical Vacation Planner. You've done a Disney cruise, right, Lee?
Long time ago when they first came out, Priscilla and I went. I'd never been on a cruise before and didn't think I liked them and went and it was fabulous. They're really amazing. So we've been on two or three. Yeah. But
Well, you can reach Magical Vacation Planner at 407-442-2694 and let them know that Lee told you on a cruise that he likes them. All
I
right,
do.
Lee, we've got a listener question from Tad Jones. You may recognize that name because he's from the Will Rogers Museum in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And we've got to know Ted. I'm a big Will Rogers fan. Lee, coming from Oklahoma, are you a Will Rogers fan? He's like the
Yeah, I
most
think
famous
everybody
Oklahoman.
is. Everybody is. And I went to where he grew up in Oklahoma when I was a kid and have good memories of that. And my family always talking about him. So yeah, it's great.
Well, when we think of famous Oklahomans, we've got Will Rogers, we've got Jim Thorpe, perhaps the best American athlete ever. We've got well, who else? Garth Brooks, he's from Oklahoma, and Lee Cockrell. So there's at least a
And
handful of
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. Well, look at that. A
Yeah,
lot of famous Oklahomans.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's get to this question, Lee. This one is kind of interesting as I've been digging into the world of customer reviews lately. We will have a separate episode just about those. But Tad has a good, interesting scenario. I don't know if I'd say it was good, but his question around the scenario is how do you respond to a bad customer review on social media when the employees say it was a different scenario?
Yeah, I think you tell your side of the story and apologize if it was bad for you. And that's all you can do. I wouldn't try to overdo it. Just say, I'm sorry, that's not what we recall happened. But anyway, we're sorry you weren't happy, and we took your uh, review seriously. And if it happened, and we're not sure how it happened, and we've talked to everybody, and our goal is to make sure it doesn't happen again. I mean, just I think you can get over concerned with it. Just to tell them like somebody you enjoyed having as a customer, a good person. Thank you for that comment. We were unaware of that, or we didn't know. We can't haven't figured out how or where it happened, but otherwise, anyway, thanks for letting us know. We checked it out. I mean, just don't worry about it. Say whatever you want to say, but just be nice and don't say, "Hey, that didn't happen. What the hell are you doing?" And that'll stir them up more and get them going. Don't get into a back and forth. They post once, you post once, and it's over. Let's don't go to war where they go on and start because people are crazy. I mean, people. I'm not sure what people will do these days, overreacting. Uh, Even from just being silly to being annoying to being violent. Uh, just let it go. Do your best. And who knows if everything that's posted. I think there's probably ulterior motives for a lot of postings that may not be true. I'm sure there are. I'm sure people do it just to get mad. I mean, look at all the political postings. People are saying all kinds of stuff, and we don't know whether it's true or not. I mean, it's just what it is. Yeah, yeah.
I think of two things, Lee, because this could have been a short episode. Lee just saying, don't worry about it. But I do think of two things. One is you have said in the past the customer is not always right, but they're still the customer.
Right. And I think when you, the owner, the person who would have made money out of this, starts defending yourself at too high a level, that also annoys a lot of people. And I think just saying, I didn't know about it. Thank you for letting us know. We're sorry it happened. We're looking into it and we're going to move on, because you see a lot of these people go back and forth, and then they want to start something else and file a lawsuit. I think your goal is just to calm it down, not get a lot more people commenting on it. Just hopefully it's just between you and them and it's over. And I think we all want to be defensive. I think we all want to win. I'm going to kick his butt, I'm going to tell this guy he's wrong. My company never did that. That doesn't, they expect you to be defensive. They expect you to deny it. So don't deny it. Just say it could have happened. I'm sorry. It's not normal around here, because you don't know them, they don't know you, and you just be professional, I would say, and you'll probably come out better. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. The next thing that came to mind, Lee, is I was reading something that you wrote. I don't even remember what it was because I have access to so much historical Lee Cockerell stuff. But somebody had written in, this is when you were executive vice president at Disney. Somebody had written in with a complaint about a cast member had done something. And your response to them was something along the lines of, I'm I'm sorry you left feeling you didn't have the experience you wanted. I wish every cast member would behave the way we trained them. You didn't acknowledge, you didn't say, yes, this happened. You didn't say, no, it didn't happen. You just said, I wish every cast member would perform or act the way we trained them. I thought that was a really interesting approach.
Well, it is, and it's often, uh, yeah, I think it's a good, actually, an answer, and I think sometimes if you don't know, that's kind of clears the air, and you can tell somebody someday, I wish my son had behaved the way I raised him, but I'm sorry if he said that to you, but yeah, it's kind of neutral and it's not denying it. So your goal is to get over this thing, move on before people make a bigger splash out of it. And when you're in business, or a parent, you're going to be dealing with this stuff all the time. You're going to be dealing with a teacher calls your house when your kids are in school, or your son says something about, you don't want these things to get out of control. And you don't want anything recorded that could be recalled later that you wish you hadn't said. Which is when you're angry, you say things you're sorry for about 12 seconds after you said them. And they come back to haunt you with everybody's recording everything these days. So, people take it out of context. See, they're going to say, see how defensive Lee was. He never admits the truth. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Take
I
the take the beating. That's what I said. Take the beating.
Yeah, what I think is interesting about Lee's response there is what could they do next? So they had a complaint. Lee said, I'm sorry your experience wasn't what you expected. I wish every cast member would perform the way we train them. What's next? Like, what else can a customer do? Lee said, I'm sorry. Lee said, we train our cast better. I mean, it can't escalate from there. I mean, someone would have to really try to escalate it after that response.
I guess they wanted me to say we tracked him down, we fired him, and we made sure he could never get another job anywhere in the world. Does that make you happy? Did you ruin somebody's life? Maybe he was having a bad day. Yeah, that's all right. We just got to take these things with a grain of salt, not get over. This overreacting in the world is out of control.
Lee, did you have any situations at Hilton, Marriott, or Disney where a customer complained about something and you thought, oh, I at least need to go find out what happened here?
Oh, yeah, I've had many of those kinds of things. In fact, I always try to follow up and make sure I give the customer the benefit of the doubt if whether it happened or not, and try to do the legwork to find out. And I've had stories in my books about the customer who said he couldn't get wine with his dinner. And I tracked that down. It was one of our policy problems. And it was good I tracked it down and fixed it. Had another guy on New Year's Eve that wanted to kill me because we didn't have any reservation and we were full, didn't have any seats, and he had been drinking, so he was already out of control. And I told him just calm down, and I got a table from somewhere and squeezed it into the restaurant, a couple of chairs, and we got through the night. I mean, yeah, things happen, and sometimes you can find out why, and sometimes you can't. If I made a reservation, that's why I like these new reservation systems, because you get a confirmation number back. It's not that you can say, well, somebody answered the phone over there and took my reservation. But yeah, this is just normal life as far as I'm concerned. Things are going to happen, and you don't want it to happen again. You might check it out and find out it didn't happen. You might find out and check it out it's been happening every day. So you take it with a grain of salt. As I told you once, Bill Merritt told me, you always give the customer the benefit of the doubt and always give your employees the benefit of the doubt. If you're not sure, give them the benefit of the doubt until you can prove it. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, because we don't know.
And
Yeah, and by the way, I heard recently, read recently, if we'd ask people why they did something more often, we'd probably not be so difficult and hard in our discipline or lesson we try to teach. Why did you speak to Mary like that? Why did you say that to her in the meeting? Try to learn what happened. There may be a deeper reason we need to talk about instead of just admonishing somebody and telling them how bad they are. Somebody said, "Why didn't you do your homework? Why didn't you do whatever and why do you come to work late? Why?" And there may be a good reason. Instead of chewing them out, you find out they have a real difficult thing in their life, and maybe you can help them work it out. So I think that's true, and I didn't always do that. And I think asking why, probably better we know the facts before we start figuring out how to fix something. Yeah, we might need a
yeah,
little
that
more
that is
empathy and less discipline, and sometimes more discipline and less empathy, depending on what you learn. Yeah, yeah,
I what Lee just said, I've seen those situations a lot at the workplace and at home. Recent situation where my son came home and was a little grumpy, and instead of just being grumpy back, you ask why, and he's like, "Oh, I skipped lunch at work. I just came home really hungry." Well, okay, go eat something, then let's talk. It changes things because you can
right.
escalate it really fast, but if you have empathy, then it helps out. In a Vima, the Main Street Leader, Lee wrote about how it was actually the wine situation that he
Yeah,
referenced.
yeah,
One of the Main Street Leaders talks about that. And Lee, you in that you said yes, the customer had a complaint, and it was more about a policy, not a person. And it was by listening to that customer complaint, by asking why, instead of just blaming the waiter, you asked why and found out you had a bad policy, which you were able to change. And
yeah.
then that helped customer service from then on.
Turned out it was my fault, not the waiter. Which, frankly, a lot of things turn out to be our fault because of policy procedure, how we manage, how we scare the dickens out of the employees. They don't want to tell you things. I mean, that's why, more and more I say, but half the problems are your fault. So look there first, and then you might find out. And yeah, and it also sends a message to your team that Lee's fair. He didn't go after me. He went after finding out what the truth was. So yeah, and that's hard. And that's why we got to remain calm and just not overreact. Don't let your brain open your mouth too quick. Slow it down.
Yes, that's hard sometimes, isn't it, Lee, to not be
Oh boy,
defensive?
sure is. Absolutely. We've all done it, or I have anyway. I don't know if everybody's done it, but
Oh yeah, I'm sure we have all done it. Lee, one of this talk about customer reviews reminds me of a new product you and I have both been involved in, and at least in a consulting role, me a much higher role, but Review Central app. You've seen it, Caleb Miller's thing, where it brings all your customer reviews into one dashboard, and You can track if there's problems. You can respond to them. That is a really interesting approach to customer reviews.
Well, I think it's fabulous. I mean, when I heard that, I said, why hadn't somebody else thought of that? I was taking everything that's out there on the internet, every review about your company and everything anybody ever said, and letting it all be pulled into one place automatically. So that and instead of having people trying to look at TripAdvisor and then look over here at Yahoo and then look over, this is really cool. He's done a great job with that. And by the way, I'd tell any company that wants to know what the cumulative reviews are on your business, good, bad, and ugly, is to talk about. You can maybe give some information how people could reach him, because it's going to be very productive and very. It's going to help people make better decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, and the product just launched, so Caleb has talked a lot to Lee about this. I've worked on it with him, and it's reviewcentral.app, and it's ready to go. You can sign up, give it a run, and see what you think. It is fabulous. It brings reviews from all the review sites into one place, analyzes them, points out problems. It's almost like having a staff of people just devoted to reading all of your reviews and then telling you what's going on in your organization, giving you a score. Not only bad stuff, Lee, but it points out the good stuff. It tells you what needs to be fixed and it tells you what needs to be celebrated. And he told me you were the inspiration for the celebration part.
Well, I wonder if he can put in there to review us and see what people are saying out there in the world about our podcast or our work or our workshops. And
Yeah.
we might put ourselves on that, tell him to run a little uh, on our company, Cockerell Academy or Cockerell and Jody, and see what people are saying. Because I guess whatever you put in, it's going to look for it.
Yeah, that's right. And I just looked right now and it pulls from Yelp, Google, TripAdvisor, and Facebook currently. So that's a
Well, we're
uh,
probably not in there, so hopefully, but
yeah.
who knows?
Yeah,
Uh,
well, Lee, as we wind down, I mentioned we did a workshop this past weekend in Orlando, how to build a world-class customer experience. And Lee surprised this probably will not be a common occurrence at all the workshops, but Lee surprised everyone and made a guest appearance and shook hands and gave out some books. So it was great to see you at the workshop, Lee.
yeah, you guys did a great job, and it's a subject that's pretty basic, but also pretty clever, and that if you will design the experience you want the customer to have, that becomes your training for all your employees and for the company. And then it's kind of like writing the plot for a play. Everybody knows their part, know what to do, know when to do it, and how to do it. And so the perfect visit to your company would be a good seminar to take. And I know you guys are going to do some more of them. So there you
Yeah,
go.
that's right. We'll mention them here on the show, or if you go to cockerellstore.com, scroll down to the workshop or live event segment, and you'll see any live events we have coming up. So that is where you can find out about the next world class workshop. I think you'll enjoy it. Well, Lee, it was great to see you again in person and now here on Zoom, even though we have had fun with those old episodes. If you want to find out what Lee is up to or find those workshops, go to cockerellacademy.com. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.